he was full throttle. He was pretty hyped up, wasn't he?
Yeah, well, he was passionate, and as he should be. I mean, the issues we're talking about here are huge. I mean, the next Prime Minister is going to face some of the most difficult crises possibly in a century. We've already got the difficulties with energy, with the Ukraine, with the economy, health service issues coming up, and other crises we can't foresee. So, it's important. He cares about it passionately. What they were talking about last night, I mean, he's been attacked for intervening, but he was pointing out a simple fact, that if we follow Liz's plan, then what will happen, according to her own economist, is that interest rates, the base rate, will go up to 7%. That means mortgage rates, commercial rates of 8, 9, 10%, 4 times as high as they are now. Now, that's really serious. I've got children who have mortgages, and I worry about how they'll get by. I'm going to have to support them myself, I suspect, at the end of the day. So, you've got lots and lots of real big issues. So, it was important. He was passionate about it, and he was.
Passionate is one way of putting it. I'll just give you the view of Yvonne, who's got in touch. She said, "My vote's for Liz Truss. Rishi was plain rude, shouting over Liz, not giving her time to explain." Is Yvonne right?
No, I don't think so. I mean, look, whoever wins this contest is going to have to stand at the dispatch box of the House of Commons and deal with the House of Commons. I've done that, and it's very fierce. It's very hard exchanges. If you can't cope with that, then, you won't make a decent Prime Minister. And Margaret Thatcher wouldn't have complained. I mean, both candidates have compared themselves to Margaret Thatcher. I knew Margaret Thatcher, and she would never have complained about being intervened on, because she would have had the answer. But last night, Liz Truss did not have the answers. I mean, frankly, she didn't have the answer to Rishi. She didn't have the answer to Faisal Islam, who asked her about her central borrowing strategy. She just didn't understand her own strategy. So I'm afraid, you've got to be able to deal with this in a debate. When I debated David Cameron, I was much fiercer on him than Rishi was last night. Nobody complained about that. Nobody accused me of being improper or rude. They said, actually, the points were important, and the points were important last night. Thousands upon thousands upon thousands of pounds on people's mortgage costs are massively important, and they need to be known about. So Rishi was right there, I'm afraid.
Why do you think it's not gaining as much traction with the Conservative Party membership at this point? Because all the polls that we've seen are consistently putting Liz Truss ahead by quite some margin.
Yeah, it's early days at the moment. I mean, polls are indicative, but they're not certain, and things change. And one of the reasons I think the Conservative Party members will turn towards Rishi is the fact he's clearly in command of his brief. I mean, look, I've seen a lot of these contests down the years. What we often do is appoint a leader, not just us, Labour Party too, appoint a leader for one crisis and then defeated by the next crisis. The exceptions, like Margaret Thatcher, the example everybody cites, are exceptions because of their character, not individual policy. They've got to be tough, brave, courageous. They've got to have consistency of principle, and they've got to have intellectual capacity. And on those counts, I think Rishi wins this, and I think that will come across in the debates. People will see he is in command, not just of the main threads of his argument, but all that's behind it. Last night when he was talking, when Liz was trying to say, oh well, other countries have lower tax rates, he said, well, do you really want to have the mortgage costs that the Americans have? He knew his facts, and that will come across again and again and again in these coming debates.
Well, she described those facts as Project Fear, of course. And David, I just wanted to ask you that, last night was the last big audience platform, I suppose, that Rishi Sunak will have got to put his message across. He really did have to go for it. Do you think he got the cut through that he needed to get?
On the arguments, I think he did. Project Fear. It's frankly a bit rich coming from Liz. Liz was one of the main proponents of Project Fear, and actually it's one of my tests when I was trying to decide which candidate to support. When I was saying who's got the character, well, look back at what happened in 2016. Rishi did the brave thing and supported Brexit when Cameron pretty much told everybody that would be the end of their career, and Liz went with the Cameron line. Look at the issues during the middle of the COVID crisis. Rishi did the tough and difficult things and actually saved us from disaster. Best policy in the world, pretty much, according to the IMF. And now he's standing up for the tough policies now. And I think at the end of the day, the Conservative Party in the country will actually make its judgment not on whether this or that is a nicer policy for their own personal pocketbook. It'll make the judgment on what's right for the country. And that means a leader, a prime minister with great courage, great consistency of principle and great intellect. And that's Rishi Sunak.